Hey, and welcome to video number 6. We're going to talk about how to remove the background of a picture. So let's say, for example, that you have an object from a picture that you want that object, and you want to remove that object and add it to a different picture. Well, we're going to show you how to do that quickly and easily. So the first thing that you need to do is to find a picture that you want to take the object out of the background. In this specific video, I'm going to show you two different examples. And before I go there, I want to say that anytime that you have a solid background, like a white background or a black background or anything like that, it's going to be a lot easier. So the first example I'm going to do is one of these where there's a solid background. The second example that I will do is going to be a background that is a little more complicated. It's not exactly a solid background. For example, this photo here, let's say I want to take the business people out and remove the clouds. I'll show you that in the second part of this specific video, just so that you can get an idea of how all of this works. So I'm going to pick a picture. I'm going to pick this picture, and to open it in Paint.net is very easy. Once you've found that picture, all you have to do is left click, drag it over, click open, and there we go. So let's say I want to remove this white animated or white 3D fellow with his books, and I'm going to remove everything including this mirrored effect right here. So to do it, what you need to do is click on the magic wand. The magic wand is your friend in terms of selecting, the background here. So click on the magic wand, and then up at the top, you're going to see something called tolerance. And I'm just going to show you an example. If the tolerance is too high, that means that this magic wand is not going to be able to detect the difference between this white and this semi-white. So if the tolerance is too high and I click on it, you'll notice that it selects everything. You see? What I like to do is usually pick a tolerance that's low. So I want to pick something maybe like 13. So if I click it again, you'll see that it actually selects everything around this person minus this part. So maybe I'll do it again, and I'll choose 18, and I'll click it again here. But now you see it selects more, but then it cuts into his head. So I might need to decrease that a little bit and click again. Now, because that's the case, I'm just going to have to work with this. Now, the blue area here is where it has selected it. Once it has selected the area or the background, what you need to do is just click on delete. And what that does is, as you can see, it has removed the background. And all I need to do is just go around, click here. Let's see if this works. Okay. As long as it does not run into its foot or into the object itself, then that's a good thing. Okay, good. I'm going to click here, and maybe I'll click here, click delete. Okay, good. Click here, delete. So your goal is just to click and then delete, as long as it doesn't run into the foot itself or into the object itself. And it's not going to be perfect. I'm going to show you how to get it deeper. So as you can see, I'm really just getting pieces and bits and pieces of it. Now, because the tolerance is a little lower, I'm going to increase it a little bit, just see what happens. Okay. So you're just going to have to tweak the tolerance a little bit. So just remove as much as you can with the magic wand. Oops, no, I don't want to do that. Once you have done all that you can, now it's time to zoom in. So I would click on this here and I would zoom in. If you click on view and you click on zoom in, it's Control plus plus. So I'm going to use Control plus plus or Control plus. And then I'm going to have to navigate around this picture. Now, what I want you to do is look carefully for anything that is attached to it. And what I mean by that is like stuff like this. And the only way you're going to be able to see that is if you zoom in. So you can see all this. So all of this stuff needs to be removed. And I found the best thing to do is to either use the eraser and just, click, click. And sometimes you might need to zoom in, closer. Now you may not need to have a perfect job. However, you want to do the best that you can. So you can use the eraser tool. You could even use the lasso tool if you want to. The lasso tool requires you to use your mouse though, so it's a little more tedious. See? So let's see here. Start here. So I'm going to pause it in a minute, and basically what I'm going to do is just go around the whole thing and just do this the whole time. Okay, so I went through it and I basically removed as much as possible. As we saw earlier, it pretty much removed everything on the top, and then we had to just use the eraser just go through and just to delete every little tiny spot. And I missed a spot there. And just tweak around it, tweak this, play around with this. And eventually you'll get the hang of it. So I'm going to zoom back out. I'm going to click on view, click on the actual size. And as you can see, if we click this tool, I'm going to zoom out. If all it has worked, then if I click on this person, I can move him around, as you can see here. So there you go. I've pretty much removed him from the background. And I'm not going to save it yet. I'm going to actually save as, more likely. Call them test.jpg. And then when you save it, I usually save the quality as maximum. And then let me just show you something that's really neat. Once you add a layer, let's say for example, and I'm going to add a layer and just add a background to him. So by doing this, you can get an idea of where I kind of missed out, there. But that's just easy. In this case, all I have to do is just remove that, and I can do that using, rectangle selects and so forth. So adding a layer, and I'll talk more about layers, but adding a layer and then adding a black layer behind it gives you the ability to kind of see which parts that you missed out on. Like right here, I missed out on that part. And all I'm doing is selecting and deleting. Selecting and then deleting. Selecting and deleting. And that's it. So there you have it. I've successfully grabbed this object out of the background, and I can add it to any background that I want to. And it's simply, as long as the layer is at the top, then that'll work itself out. In the next example, I'm going to basically go through and pick a harder example. I said I would pick and choose this one. This one's not too bad. Now that I look at it, it's got clouds, but remember how I said earlier, it really depends on how close the object is to. If the object is close to a solid color, then it's going to be easier. So let's take what we learned. Click on the magic wand tool. Make sure your tolerance is low. The lower the better, actually. And then you can tweak with it and just play with it, see how that goes. See, the tolerance is too high, it goes into their shirts. So it looks like I'm just going to have to zoom in and then go through and delete. Let's see. Like this woman's shirt is too white, so it blends in. Let's see here. It's too white. Still too high. So as you're watching me, I'm just tweaking the tolerance. So once I found a suitable area, then I can delete that. As you can see, I'm really going after the background that's close to the person. It may not be the perfect the first time, but and from that point, of course, just doing the background is easy. I'm just selecting, delete, selecting, delete, selecting, delete. All right. All right, so now I'm gonna have to zoom in, and this process will take a little more time just because and what I like to do is, of course, if you can remove everything close to the object itself, then of course everything is easy. Then I'll do this. Click here. And then for the bigger areas, you can just use squares. Go back to actual size. Let's say, for example, here. I can select all of this. Pretty much to the guy's head, I can select. And then from that point, I select this. This. So you pretty much get the point. And then I find the easiest is once you've done that, then create another layer, add a layer, and turn that layer black. And then make sure the layer is at the bottom. And by doing so, as you can see here, you see the areas that you've missed. So once you've gotten the big spaces first, then you can dive into the smaller pieces, smaller areas around the people. And that's it. That's pretty much how everything works. You can continue to do so to remove everything. But as you can see, it's not a hard process. It just takes time. And as long as you remove the background closest to the object, removing everything else should be fairly easy to do. And don't forget to save it when you're done.